the meaning of Isaiah and Ceemore's attempts to literally try to say that I wasn't shit, it really has a pretty bright origin. Okay, I'll put it like this. So, freshman year came along, and I literally learned a whole lot from my mistakes, but I started to do some very weird shit. Like, I started hanging around with white people. I started, like, to wear skinny jeans, and I realized that it wasn't the fact that I wasn't acting black, it was the fact that I wasn't giving women what they want. All the way from Vicky to this other girl who I think I'm saving a profile video for, and literally this girl named Lauren. I want you to focus on Victoria and Lauren for now. So Lauren is literally the basis of why my freshman year, flunked this and that. There's a whole lot of shit that went down that I literally forgot to state. So I'll put it like this. So we all know, if you go back and watch my channel, Isaiah is a guy who kind of outshined me freshman year, and it's all because he was in a higher position in society. And also, he was from San Francisco. He was from South San Francisco. And if you know anything, when you literally come from a different area and you move into a new city or a new school, you definitely have the advantage over other people where it comes to socializing, because you have something that nobody else has. And I learned that from the group home. And when I went home and literally unlearned, they're like, where the fuck did you get that swag from? Yeah, it goes like that. So basically, it went like this. So Lauren was a senior with really big tits, and literally Isaiah and everybody was drooling all over the freshman fucking year, and literally she was a very monotone emo girl. Victoria was kind of the same way, and Victoria literally symbolizes why it didn't matter what the fuck I did. It only mattered the fact that I was hot and nothing else. And I'm sorry, but that's the fucking truth. I want to let you know that when girls be around the bush and play games like that, you have to take charge. You have to be very fucking dominant. You cannot, I repeat, cannot let them come to you, because girls are something you have to take charge of. If they tease you, you have to call it out, and you have to say, oh, well, are you gonna back up what you just said? If not, then you have to leave. I'm sorry, that's literally how you have to treat girls. And if not, they're gonna continue playing this fucking friend zone on you, because the whole point of the friend zone is the point that literally you had a chance to have a romantic relationship, but because you kept on making jokes and kept on fucking around and didn't get to a point that you want something romantic, you would never, ever get out of the friend zone unless you do one of the options: either create a better lifestyle which gets you more clout, or replace them with another one. And that is literally how you escape the friend zone. It's literally having multiple options instead of giving up your game and getting a higher status. So how does this all tie into Lauren? Okay, so I'm gonna put it like this. So Victoria wasn't really a big punk rocker like that, but I scored freshman year because I was very popular, and literally all I had to do was literally be as weird as fucking possible, and it all fucking like panned out. But I abused that fact. I abused the fact that I was literally so popular, literally doing white people shit, literally making fun of Michael Pipp, literally doing this and that. It was so fucking funny, but it's not, because this all ties into the Isaiah fucking factor. So Vicky, after literally me abusing my freshman year power, literally fucking went out with this Indian guy named Ryu, because I still had her number, and I was still texting her, and she was still texting me about how she kept on having sex with her boyfriend. Do you think that you have to accept that? No, you have to call that shit out. That is where you have the game fucked up. You know why that's the origin of Lauren? Is because people really think that, like, that's a tease. No, that's not a fucking tease. That means she wants to fuck you, but she wants you to be nice to her about it. And that is really fucking treacherous. And that is the whole fucking origin of Ceemore. That's the whole fucking origin of Isaiah. Isaiah actually went out with a girl that I kept on hitting on, who we made a perfect couple. I'll put it like this. So I was off ecstasy. Me and Isaiah were doing drugs, and the girl that kept on rejecting me, literally, I was smacked at the time, and I wasn't conscious. And she waited till I wasn't conscious. He's like, don't roll your eyes back when you're on a pill. You're having a fucking seizure. She's like, Eris, look at my boobs. Look at my boobs. But she'll never say that shit to me when I was sober. You don't think that's a choosing signal? You don't think that that means she wants to fuck me? You don't think that she literally went out with Isaiah because he was just as hot but nicer? I'm sorry, but whenever a girl fucking does that, that means they don't want you to be fucking mean. Well, I don't want to be a little bitch either. That's how you deal with women. That's how you deal with life. You know what that girl literally fucking told me? Kanani is her name, and she literally told me that she only likes white guys, and I'm like, why? I'm like, why would she ever date black guys? It can't be about the penis. She's like, no, it's the penis. I'm like, that can't be true. Like, literally, that's impossible. You can't literally reject me just because I have a big penis. She is really, really out there. I fucking hate that. And that was the fucking truth, and that was the origin of fucking Isaiah. You know, all that shit was a fucking show and tell. And literally, the same thing, I think Brianna might have made the same mistake. I have no fucking clue. But she went out with fucking Isaiah, but she definitely gave me chooses in those freshman year. But when I met Brianna in community college, she was all over me, trying to be my best friend and shit. And I don't know, that might have been a start over. She didn't like how Isaiah was being an asshole, so basically she told me, oh, I might want to help you because I think you might have this and that. Lily, she's just a girl. She doesn't understand. She has an easier society. And Lily, but you have to imprint that you want something romantic, or else you never get shit out of girls. You have to imprint that you want something more than friends, or else they'll keep you at that and they'll hold it against you for fucking life. So Lauren comes along, and Lily, everybody is on Lauren, so Lily, everybody literally kept on trying to get with Lauren, but she kept on Molotov. So Lauren was a special ed just like me and Isaiah, but she was a park rocker and she's a girl. You know they don't give girls slack in society. So literally, I was so fucking angry, and the whole reason why I did not think that I was pulling is because literally, here's the thing, man. I just literally was just so fucking weird freshman year. I was as white as fucking possible, and I went with it, and I got a lot more results, but those results came with a whole lot of fucking hoes that I forget that I come from a black community. But I'm like, fuck that, it's my freedom. And the whole point about this is, I just broke the mold. I got tired of being around the bush, so I went up to Lauren literally in the hallway after we just got done with the fucking field trip, and I tried to tell Lauren, like, yeah, I was staring at your tatas the entire field trip. And literally, the funniest fucking shit, like, yeah, staring at your tatas. And Isaiah had her fucking number, and it was so fucking funny. So me and Isaiah were talking during read, and Isaiah was texting Lauren talking about me, and I'm still thinking that I have no game. Isaiah literally repeated this fucking shit to me during read. It was literally, he was like, well, Lauren told me that, like, you specifically said that you were just staring at her boobs and stuff like that, that you specifically said that. And so literally, Mr. Bunter is Mr. Bunter just keeps fucking silent, and he's Mr. Bunter, I feel the vibe that I'm highly disappointed in you, but still. Literally, fucking Isaiah literally told me what Lauren was saying, and so literally, so he broke it down like this. He's like, oh, I'm like, see, I think she said some shit like, oh, what do I stand for this, that? So I thought that I was harassing her and shit. So I'm like, oh, well, I'll leave her alone if she wants me to leave her alone. This is not because didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And so I'm like, oh, it's cool that if she wants to hang out, yeah, but if not, yeah, I will. But I forgot what the fuck Isaiah asked me and shit. And so Lily, so I'm like I'll stop if she wants me to stop. Basically, is how the conversation went. And so Isaiah came back and he's like, Lauren said leave her alone. And literally, but he delivered it. When I was young, I believe everything people say, no matter how they fucking deliver it. And I'm all like, he literally, now that I'm older, he said that shit like he was depressed and shit like that. I'm like, well, he's the one with the dumper. He doesn't sound too enthusiastic, so I knew that was the problem. But this all fucking escalated. Shame on fucking people nowadays. I'm going to literally make this home to people. I do not respect parents that let their children get hurt over and over again in school and pretend that it's nothing, pretend that, oh, they still have a roof over their head, oh, pretend that this and that. No, this is fucking serious. And I realized that Isaiah is the origin of Ceemore. If you don't know who Ceemore is, Ceemore was a pawn who I thought was literally what I could have been if I didn't try to fit in, not just let things flow out throughout my entire high school. Oh yeah, green eyes, oh you're so fucking cool, do you want to go out? It's like, oh, what about your parties, this and that? All you have to do is just sit back and don't say anything. And like literally, oh, so I'm gonna get by without personality my whole entire life when you have to deal with competition. And Ceemore constantly had the devil in my head. It's like, oh, you do too much there. It's like, that's why you're autistic. You feel the need to act out. Like, that's not how people work, man. Like, no, that is how people work. You just have to act out right. You have to actually back up that you're a school fucking jock. You can't just literally pretend that you can ride a skateboard, which is what the fuck I was doing freshman year. I was pretending to do tricks, literally, not even knowing how to do an ollie and fucking shit. That's not showing off. That's literally acting like a retard. Now, I'm exaggerating when I say that shit. It's literally, it depends on how much ammo you have. If you literally have a, like, say, if you are varsity level, yeah, you can show off a little bit, then get back to being serious. So what happened was this. So Ceemore keeps on outshining me, literally. Everybody used to make the excuse that I was a special ed, that they couldn't go out and me, oh, this and that. And then I realized when I got older, some other shit. And then I saw Ceemore. So Ceemore actually cosplayed one time. And literally, I literally had a great career in cosplay. And literally, what happened was this. My senior year, I met Ceemore as a freshman. And literally, what happened is he didn't even know what the fuck character he was cosplaying. He was just wearing a whole bunch of girls. And Ceemore actually chose Toshiro Hitsugaya. I'm like, oh, hell no. It was a regular in Ceemore's generation to watch anime, so he didn't even know what the fuck he was doing. He was just tagging along with those girls, and they just happened to cosplay one day. And Ceemore only cosplayed once, and then I knew right then and there, that was the mob who Lauren sent. As I got older, that is literally part of Isaiah's mob, and that is literally a part of literally the whole fundamental for freshman year. From Vicky still having my number from fucking freshman year, this and that. You can't let that shit go on forever. I'm telling you, freshman year is when I had the most fucking success. And literally, there was this guy named Omar Aziz, a big Afghan guy who had my back the entire freshman year, who moved, he moved, Arma moved, everybody that was cool fucking moved, and they wanted to play with me like I never fucking improved, and that like things fucking changed. Like, no, I come from a shitty fucking high school, that's why they all fucking moved. And Omar literally was acting out this and that, and he was doing hella fucking crazy shit, and he got results and shit, and I literally got a message from him that is what happened. So when I see Ceemore, I realized that Omar constructed that scheme to let me know what the whole rundown was. Freshman year, I had a whole lot of great shit. I went to the mall with 2 girls my freshman year, and literally, I started having multi-dimensional conversations. Like, if I had a pussy, I'll name it Tarantula. And literally, they literally was fucking dying and shit like that. But when I text these girls afterwards, literally, when I tried to get serious, he's like, oh, well, I don't take you like that. We're not in a relationship, and you know that. I'm like, excuse me? I just did some earth-breaking shit, and I don't get nothing out of it? Do not tolerate that at all. Never tolerate that. I'm getting fucking serious. Do not tolerate that from any fucking girl. Whenever you put that amount in, whenever you literally pull a fucking dabby at Arturo or a fucking woman, literally treat them like you're the most irreplaceable thing ever, and they act like you're just a fucking toy in their factory, that's when you fucking give them the ultimatum. You don't play games when it comes to women. You don't literally be around the bush. You literally, did you just make me waste my Kamehameha, bitch? So Ceemore was literally in fucking out. These girls literally coming up to a special ed class and literally asking for Ceemore. Oh, Ceemore, like, won't you want to hang out? And Ceemore was literally like, it's hot. Let's do that shit later. And literally, fucking, and that's where Mr. Pledger tried to tell me, you see how you kind of play is hard to get? But that was the fucking downside to Mr. Pledger. If you go watch the Truth About Mr. Pledger, the short film edit, the film, it shows a whole lot about how Mr. Pledger didn't want to give me validation in high school because he didn't want me to live a prolonged life where I'm constantly doing the same shit. Where I pretend that freshman year is my entire fucking life, and really there's a whole lot more holes that I have to fill in myself. And literally, that is literally the fucking realist thing, because Mr. Pledger knows what happens with women. When you start getting women, you start getting into fights, you start getting into literally bad activity, you start literally bad activity, aka gang activity, is forced on you once you start getting fine girls. And Mr. Pledger was trying to save me from that, and he's like, you're not ready to do what you do. So what he did was he conditioned me to a certain point to, like, when you do end up on the streets, you gotta realize that they're living life the wrong way, since you already have an expanded mind. I know you're overflowing with hormones, and once you have an ultimatum, it's either your life or your fucking hormones. You gotta choose your life, and that's what Mr. Pledger did for me. And I thank Mr. Pledger for that, but at the time, you have to hate Mr. Pledger because, oh, you're agreeing with this little faggot? And Ceemore had a side conversation with Mr. Pleasure, letting me know that I was the one who had game. Because all those bitches like in anime wasn't fucking a coincidence. All those bitches who literally had nice fucking bodies, this fucking Asian girl with big ass fucking titties, literally, that Kyle looks like Nora, has the fucking same hairstyle, but has a little bit more of a way Asian face and shit, literally. So I literally realized that all those girls were meant for me, but they used Ceemore as a tour. And the whole reason like that is for me to be nice. You're sitting by a whole fucking gangster mob. I had a whole fucking mob of bitches in high school, but I didn't know what to do with them. And I realized the whole fucking reason why I had no game is because I had fucking choosing notes. And older people know what that means. If you know how to take advantage of those tools, then you're in. But if you're fucking oblivious that they're even tools at all, what the fuck's the point? Is how I fucking think. Like, how am I supposed to know unless you tell me? So Ceemore went like this. He's like, how do I literally convince Eris that like he's not the one getting girls, even though he's the one who literally dresses better, even though he's the one who's literally passes limits, this and that. So Ceemore had a side conversation with Mr. Pleasure, and Mr. Pleasure like literally broke it down like this. So Mr. Pleasure knew I was in trouble, so he played Ceemore's game, and he's all like, well, they don't like Eris for who he truly is and stuff like that. He really had like a rough time doing high school. He tries too hard to fit in and this and that, but he knows what the fuck the truth is, and, you know. So what Mr. Pleasure did is Mr. Pleasure literally had Ceemore play along with my game, saying that I had no game in order to keep me safe. So he had both me and Ceemore's back, because he drove me to the side one time when he told me that Ceemore getting all those girls was just a phrase, like, you think Ceemore has it like this and that. But what he dumbed it down is Ceemore is literally just a fucking tool, and he realizes he's a tool, and like, but Mr. Pleasure broke it down to Ceemore that I might get shot, that I might get this and that if I start fucking with these girls. That's what he did one-on-one. But on one-on-one with me, he told me that Ceemore was literally getting all those girls just for a front, that they only like him for his reputation, nothing else. So Mr. Pleasure was heavy on street code when he tried to tell me what the rundown was. So what the fuck he told me was literally, he's like, Ceemore is in a life and death situation that's a little bit more important than girls. So like, you have to understand that this girl things is just the front. He's going through a whole lot more on the inside, is what Mr. Pleasure told me. So literally, I took that shit to heart. But you know what? This is all goes back to my original point. Even though like I had mad potential, what's the whole point if I don't know that there's a higher fucking squad out there that's always trying to cockblock me, and me constantly thinking that it has no game is supposed to make people like me suicidal. So I don't respect fucking parents that don't inform like their kids about the game and don't put them in a position to recognize the game. Mr. Pleasure even put me in a situation to make me recognize what the game was. I'm like, you don't have to go all out for your fucking children. I know a whole lot of parents are disappointed that they don't want their children to be on the streets, that anything is better than fucking banging. I understand that. But when you let it get to a point when we get into situations like me and fucking Allie, when playing hard to get, like, drags on for years and years until the guys become suicidal, you let this guy stab himself, you let this guy do this and that, you let your child become suicidal, all because you didn't want to tell them the truth, they have to toughen up. I'm sorry. That is the fucking truth. You cannot let that shit drag on. It took literally so fucking long for Allie to fucking realize, after immediately doing Superman fucking shit to get women, we shouldn't have to break those fucking barriers. We can't do that shit. Especially what's happening today in fucking COVID, where literally guys are literally committing suicide over and over again off of bitches and bitches and bitches, and then they try to play this whole game like bitches ain't shit. No. We're fucking human. We need that shit. Like, we need constant validation by our side, either from family or fucking friends. And like, literally, we need to stop sugarcoating the fucking truth. Literally tell kids what's up. And literally, I really wish that parents had the guts to literally say, shut the fuck up, son. Like, literally, I remember back in the day when you lose a fight in fucking school and your dad whoops your ass until you learn how to fucking fight. Nowadays, it's all like, oh, be a better person. Like, don't put yourself in a bad situation. Fuck that. Literally, this shit got dragged on for too much. We can't let playing hard to get in the way of fucking reality for fucking ever. We can't let that shit pile up, because look at all those fucking girls I could have fucking had in high school. Look at how much farther I could have been in my career if I fucking lost all my fucking nut cage in my head and I literally had a clear mind, so I won't be frustrated for fucking ever. We need to stop sugarcoating our fucking children. Stop literally just focusing on our career and focus on being well-rounded individuals, so it won't be fucking down. So this guy's this and that. Oh, well, why don't you let them go out and experience fucking life? Why don't you fucking train them to be out there? Like, why don't you fucking tell them what the game is about? I understand that it's very fucking stressful dealing with gang members, and they don't want their children literally to have strategy on top of strategy in order to fucking fool their enemies all the fucking time. But there's other options that you can do, and you letting them know about the games. Like, there's a simple way to have game. You can have fun with women. You can do what the fuck I do and literally make sure that they're both in tune with the fucking situation. Then sex comes into play naturally because you already earned yourself to be a respectable person. You're not fucking dancing fucking monkey, but you sure as hell ain't fucking bored. You're not letting the situation play out. You're taking charge of the situation, but you're doing it in a kind, civilized way. We can do that way. We don't have to fucking gorilla pimp all the time. We don't have to do this and that. We just gotta be real. And that's a whole lot of things that people fucking fail to realize. They fucking kiss their feet too much in society, so we need to stop that shit. I really want people to know that this is why fucking so many people are in decay nowadays, all because we don't want to open up and tell them the fucking truth. That if I was your age, I would have rejected you because literally I would have took you to school, jock over you any fucking day, because at least he is one with fucking nature. But you know, I can't be like that. You know, there are more than one ways to get women. You don't have to be mean. You don't have to do this and that, but you definitely need to call people out on their bullshit. You can't be a doormat. But definitely can't be a closed door either. You have to have an expanded mind.